Good day. This is Michael Mitchell at God's Barn Church. There's some things I'd like to talk to you about. You know, what I feel, and I'll just say it. I know, I know there's a message for me to give to you people. I'm serious. That's it. I mean, you need to hear me. You really do. By the millions, you'll understand. You'll understand. It's not some, weird cult or nothing like that. It's right out of the Bible, 100%. And I feel such an urgency to do this. And as I was going to go, then it got called off, and then now I'm 25 days out, April 10th, and then this coronavirus thing. But see, I don't care about a virus or dying, but I want to make sure that what I got to do, gets done. Does that make sense? It's really not being afraid. No, no. But I was just thinking this today. When we get a church there, we need to purchase mats and blankets and always have that stuff available, especially in the next 6 months, so that if folks get sick or they have a temperature or something, we can get them in there, and then they're together, they're quarantined, and then we can deal with it until the authorities get there or they figure out what's going on. Reason I say that was because I was a nurse a long time ago, so a lot of that stuff makes sense to me. And then I was a sanitary engineer, so water and sanitation and things like that. Just it's the human side of me, I guess. But it's just amazing. It is absolutely amazing that I was picked for this. I mean, I just can't believe this, but I know why, quite honestly. Well, I was picked a zillion years ago, but it all began, really what it was that demon at that house. He was not a demon. He was a stronghold, a principality. You know what I'm saying? He was a prince, okay? Prince of Persia, something like that. And that's the most amazing story you'll ever hear. But that went from years of just kind of being scatterbrained, just you're kind of like a guy that saw a flying saucer, and you're going, but it was all choppy, I could remember, I took some pictures of this demon in the house, and I had a little BlackBerry phone, and I couldn't remember anything, and there's parts of that during that time with that demon that was blanked out. I mean, it's really, but anyway, that was just the one, but the one in the barn has nothing to do with the barn whatsoever. There's just the barn there. It's the earth. That was a lake, and a stream run down through that where they use moving water. For what they did was they ground up acorns, and it had a tannic acid in them, and they had to wash it out till it became white and was it'd be kind of milky and it'd clear up, and then it's a great carbohydrate, make bread and grains. I'm sure you folks know way more about it than I do. But somehow this demon was able to control that space. You know what I mean? I mean, see, it was defiled, and there's very little on it. And the only verse, excuse me, I can really find that pertains to defilement is in Leviticus. And it's a very old verse, and it just says that land is defiled where spirits are called out of the ground. You know what I'm saying? I'll have to look, but that's what it is. And I'll show you the verse sometime. But what I came to understand was there was these spirits that were, they had the presence of God with them. You know what I mean? And there was lots of them. And that's what I first discovered. And what I believe is that was what I was sent there to do, was to rescue these spirits. That they were there, but they wanted to go, right? That's either they want to stay or they want to go. So, I mean, it's really fascinating to me. And when I finally figured out what to do with this demon, what I did was I made the barn a church, is what I did. And how we knew this demon was gone, well, for 12 years, it's this big old house. It has, I don't know, it's huge. They just built it. They had a shack and they built it bigger and bigger and bigger. But there would be voices constantly wherever room you were. It could be voices, it could be music, it could be laughter, it could be crying. 24/7. That's why, because when I said that prayer, never heard nothing again. I knew. And I got a lot of people who will testify to that. Because I'm a background is, kind of a science. And I just am built a way that you've got to find an answer. You just keep going forward. You're in something. But anyway, I'll tell you something else I have. We put a game camera out, and it tripped. Took a picture. I'll show you the picture. And I've had this thing, and then we lost it and we found it. And the picture, the original, I've looked forever for this. But here's the picture, and the barn is over here, right? And you can see this pasture. There is an indigenous Indian boy that's in the land. He's not a ghost. I mean, you can't miss it. He looks about 12. He's got chubby cheeks. I mean, it's a picture of that. And then off to the right is a picture of me looking at the barn. I'll show you the picture. It's really weird. But that was a part of, what's going on with this? Why is this? And that's the part where I guess I just kind of given up or something. But I knew that we're here. It's telling me this. And it's always in line with that barn. I don't know what the dimensions mean. But those spirits, after that, I never heard from them again. And I'll tell you this, and I don't want to get strange, but this is just probably me, but where they're shoreline was where my horse's pin was, you see. And it was on a hill kind of bit, and it degraded the ground. Well, it was just loaded with indigenous rocks, but they weren't really fine, pestles and stuff like that, because they didn't if they needed a rock, they would just go to the creek that was smooth and do what they wanted to do with it, So they didn't have all that kind of stuff, and they did have little bowls, and they had a platter that they used. But after that, when I went after it was a church, I would go in there, and I would find like 3 rocks in a little pile. Now the horses, I watch these rocks, and these horses kick them around. I mean, it's weird, but they move. If you put animals with something, and you watch the terrain, it just moves around. It's very strange. But if you took a time-lapse camera of your pasture, or something over a month, you would see it would, and it'd be an animal doing it or whatever. So I don't know, but I always did like that, because the rocks were always, you could tell that they'd used by them. They had thumbprints and, stuff like that. So I thought that was really neat. But, that's probably just my imagination. But during this time, I developed a keen understanding about indigenous people. Now, if you look up in an encyclopedia, indigenous people are people that are the original people here. Native Americans here, Africans in Africa, and I don't know, like me up in England or something, the Nordic thing, And before they ever met Christianity, right? So, you take me. In order for me to go back to where my ancestors had not been exposed to Christianity, right? Well, to get to that point, that'd for me be like, I don't know, when the Romans were in England, I don't know, 60 to 100 AD, right? You see, people have lost their tribe.